Only the cool guys show up for the 22 reviews in TMP. That would be you, by the way. Thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. I say that because sometimes, for whatever reason, my audience not super excited for 22s. I don't know why. Yeah, it's just tactical guns. I'm not that way. I love 22s. I'm an addict. I love collecting 22 rifles and pistols, changing out the collection. I don't review half the ones that I would really like to review. Who knows? Maybe that will change in the years to come. I really don't know. But we're going to talk about this one right here. The Walther PPQ 22 5-inch barrel, long slide. And man, is it a cool gun. Cool gun. We'll get to that here in a second. First things first, tabletop decoration. We need a cool knife. Here we go. Cold steel Espada XL in aluminum and polished G10. Something wicked this way comes. How's that for a 22 review? This model discontinued. They have the regular G10 bare bones model out now. Did you guys ever pick one of these up? I mean, just as a collectible, it's so awesome. Man, that's a cool knife. I think I showed another review. I cycle the cast members through just for out of genre reviewing, and that's my homemade lanyard attachment in the day. Look up the video. It's still out there, I think. Yep. Walther PPQ 22 long slide. Here's the thing. We've had a lot of great, not 22, but 9mm and 40 cal combat pistols introduced over the last few years. I think the VP9 is awesome. I think the P10C is awesome. TP9 series, most excellent. The Beretta ARX, the FN, they're all great guns. They really are. I might like some more than others. Go watch the individual reviews. But when guys come to me and they meet me in person, hopefully they're watching the show because I put a lot of effort, time, and money into these reviews. I say what I mean what I say. Sometimes they do think that there's other information to be gleaned when they meet me in person. And they'll go, hey, I'm looking to buy a home defense pistol, for instance. What should I buy? There are actually 2 guns that I do recommend, actually 3, that I'd recommend a lot. Of course, the Glock. Duh. I mean, the Glock. The new 5th gen is even better. Not that there was that much wrong with the 4th. Finger grooves, that's about it. But for marketing, they introduced the 5th. Cool. And then I say the TP9 series. For the money, you can't beat it. And then the Walther PPQ series. This one, Cerakoted by myself. Think that is Patriot Brown. Yeah. Oh, watch for the review is the Aromatic Automatic Vintage. I gotta write the number down. 82017. Reviewed separately. Highly recommended. Link below. Sick. Oddly out of place on the table with these handguns, but it's kind of fun. Yeah, that's what I recommend. I was like, you need to go look at those 3 pistols. If you can, shoot all 3 and buy the one that's best for you. The TP9, of course, is amazing in its value series, of course. But the Walther PPQ continues to hold its ground. It is one of my all-time favorite 9mm pistols. It's just the way it is. This is the long slide version. They have other variations that have come out. Dang, is it awesome. I mean, I can go out, if you're saying, hey, you're going to go out and shoot a pistol for fun, 500 rounds, what would you shoot? This would probably be at the top of my list. That and a 1911. To be honest, I really enjoy shooting 1911s. You didn't know that. I think I've said it, but I love shooting 1911s. It's not a GTW handgun for me, but you talk about fun, being able to hit with them, yeah, 1911s do it for me. But PPQ, up there. And here we are, even after all those amazing competitive options are introduced.
Really nice.
I think the Walther PPQ continues to hold its ground. It's got an amazing trigger. Amazing trigger. Which, I guess I'll start here. We're going to cover features, how does it shoot, and would I buy it on the Walther PPQ 22 version. The trigger, how does the 22 version mimic the centerfire version? I would say it pretty much dead on as far as shootability. You know, in the actual mechanics, what's the reset? Maybe a little bit different. But this one has an amazingly light trigger pull. Feels a little bit different than the centerfire version, but like I said, in shooting it practically, it's about the same. A really great trigger. Super short reset. Walther says it's 1/10 of an inch in resetting, and you might see some video where I am actually attempting to shoot it to reset. I have my good days, my bad days, and I can always do it, but being able to do that and hit accurately and fast, you know, it's a little bit tougher. So great trigger. So it pretty much gets that down. Let's remind ourselves on how awesome this centerfire trigger is. Oh my gosh, I love it. Like I said, the VP9 is also excellent. Look at this reset on the regular one. Sick. Sick. So trigger's phenomenal. Let's compare these two side by side. So we have the centerfire version on the bottom, the 5-inch PPQ 22 on the top. Identical. And I did measure the width, identical. Which begs the question, is an understudy gun still a valid philosophy of use? I've never really gotten into it, to be honest with you. I think it's kind of dumb. What? An understudy philosophy of use means, well, you know, I can't go afford to shoot a 40, 45, or 9mm combat handgun. I'll buy something in the same form factor. I'll go bang away with that thing for 22 long rifle. I think it's dumb. I think marksmanship is marksmanship. You should be able to readily adapt to different pistol configurations. That's just what you should do. Especially without rule of law, you don't know what you're going to come across. You may not have your gun. You should practice with everything. So when I run into guys like, oh, I can only shoot a Glock well, I can only shoot a Smith & Wesson M&P 10 well, or M&P 9, sorry, not M&P 10. You know, it's like, well, I hear what you're saying, but you might want to expand a little bit. So that's just me. I don't really buy off on that so much. Maybe other guys do, I don't know. Other POU, home defense, 22 long rifle, no, not my first choice. I've had this discussion on camera several times, so I don't want to go over it in depth, but it goes something like this. 22 long rifle, yes, better than nothing. Yes, a lot of people, especially ones recoil shy or new to shooting, can shoot it much more accurately than a centerfire version. Gotcha. But it's so dang anemic. Very anemic. So no, I would not recommend it for home defense unless you had no other option. The firepower of a 12-round magazine helps a little bit. So that is very good. This is put together in the same factory as the M&P 22 full size. Reviewed in 2000, I think 14 is when I did it. It's out there too. This also has a 12-round magazine. Most excellent. Same quality levels. There's the magazine right there. Just bought another one for this. This is ours. So I love this gun. And honestly, shooting both these guns, this was very reminiscent of that. That's because probably mechanically it's identical. Pretty much. Philosophy of use, just fun gun, absolutely. It's so fun to shoot them. Again, you won't go broke. 22 rounds have finally become available again. It's taken for years for us to get that. Recreational. Pest control, yeah, totally. Especially if you put a can on it. I didn't test it with a can, you know, put the threaded barrel adapter on it. I just didn't do it, but you could. Pest control, you betcha. End of philosophy of use. Features. The magazine release is just like a PPQ. I've done multiple videos on the PPQ because I love it so much. Yes, the mag release is just perfect on these guns. It really is. So reversible, if I'm not mistaken on this. I'm a righty, so that's why sometimes I'm a little bit shady on whether it's reversible or not. I honestly forget so many guns. But it's perfect. It is the M2 variety on this, so it's not the, you know, trigger guard mounted one, which again I don't have a problem with. Some guys did. Mentioned that so many times. And what can we say more that we haven't already said about the PPQ grip? Perfection. It really is perfection. So on this one, it comes as it comes. I don't think there's any inserts that you can put into it. Here's the case, and this is, thank you to Gunnies, a great American gun store, for loaning this to us for test and review. You can see the serial number, PP016440. That's what we reviewed. What you get in the box. Yeah, so you're just stuck with that grip, which is a good thing because you don't need to do anything to it. I've always said, I mean, the inserts are more of a marketing ploy. Everybody I meet, literally, everyone I meet that has grips, interchangeable grips, are running the medium. End of discussion there. The grip is perfect. Perfect. Grip angle is awesome. It seats deep in hand. You got an undercut portion right here, just like you do on a full-size PPQ. Squared off trigger guard. Oh, gosh, I love that. Yes, I like shooting that way. It's fun for me. Standard pick rail, Picatinny rail. Perfection. And the slide milling, the slide looks are identical to the full-size PPQ. The sights, however, are diff. In case you're wondering, the dovetails are completely different. The sights on this one actually are aftermarket. I put those on. I don't think they're raised. They're MEPS, I think. Might be for a P99. I just threw them on the PPQ. They work good. And then you have a light pipe up front on the PPQ 22. Great for, you know, visibility, not so great for durability. I've busted these so many times in the desert, and I suspect under hard use that's going to break on you. If you're at the range, maybe not so much. We have a blackened sight in the rear, elevation adjustable, drift if you want windage, right? Now, I'm not super hip on the rear sight on that. I think it's a little bit lacking, but we've seen it before, haven't we? Here's a M&P 22. Same. I mean, not the light pipe. That's a white dot up front, and I believe that's a fully adjustable. No, it's the same type of sight on that one. One thing you'll notice in cocking your PPQ 22 is that it takes no pressure at all to rack to slide, because it is, after all, a blowback 22, which will lead us to a very important reliability discussion, something I was reminded of. I've forgotten it, and then I reminded myself. Actually, another crew member reminded me of it watching him shoot it. We'll get to that here in a second. Ambidextrous slide release. Oh, low profile, so excellent. Oh my gosh, is it excellent. Not going in the takedown here. I might roll in some pictures. Then again, I might not. Check that out. Ventilated slide, just like Big Brother. What's the weight difference, Nutton? Funny you would ask. This is 24 ounces, and to be honest with you, I forget the weight of the full size. It's going to be, I would probably guess, 28 with the long slide. Oh, not even. 26.4. So that's really, really light for a long slide. You guys know that. Really light. So very similar weight, but definitely lighter, this one is. By the way, I was like jamming in the Walther M&P, not the Walther, but the Smith & Wesson M&P 22 magazine, just to see if it'd fit. And it will fit, but the angle's different and doesn't catch. Why'd I do that? Not just goofing around. Just goofing around. Speaking of the magazine, it is identical to that one because it's made in the same factory. So it's high quality stainless steel, dovetailed in the back, has a loading button, same type of floor plates. 12 rounds. I love that for plinking. For anything, I think it's just so helpful to have 2 extra rounds. I've complained about that for years. I was like, hey, with AWB sunsetting like eons ago, why are we still sticking around with 10 rounds in these pistols? Well, someone listened. They changed them. Made in Germany. You can see same factory. M&P 22 on the top, PPQ 22 on the bottom. Umarex, made in Germany. This one says it right here. And I think the M&P 22 Compact is United States made. We had that discussion before. Features, though. Looking in the magwell of full-size one. And I'm calling it the long slide. There's some channeling going on there. Funneling. Very cool. Just a great feeling pistol. And I think that's features. Now, this is going to be an aluminum slide here, so it's going to be much lighter weight. It has to be because it's blowback operated. And completely different configurations inside. You guys know that. And I think that's pretty much it. 1.3 inches wide. I mentioned that. How did it shoot? Well, initially when I took it out, oh, by the way, this is a 2245 modified by myself with a Packlight 22 upper, aftermarket grips, Volquartsen trigger that I installed. I have a video on how to install that, and modified base plates. This gun is kind of an interesting piece now because now Ruger does the lightweight 2245s. They basically copied the Tactical Solutions product. which is unusual because usually Ruger doesn't copy anyone ever. Kidding. Totally kidding. They copy everybody. Enough said. I still love that gun though, 2245, especially when you get it modified out or you get a lightweight version of it. Ultra sick. How did the PPQ 22 shoot? Really fun, like I said. You're looking at footage here and there of me shooting it. I fell in love with the gun immediately. I mean, it was so easy to hit with. It was accurate, and I'll show you the paper right here, right now. This is at 15 yards standing at a range. Actually, I can't remember if it's standing. It might be benched. It's probably benched. Running CCI solids. 15 yards. That's pretty good, at least for me. This group's really good. Here's a handheld group. That's okay. 15 yards. That's okay. Here I am standing, shooting to reset, and so this is what I'm talking about being such a fun gun. So you're shooting to reset. The target's just at 7 yards. Maybe you move it even closer with a piece of paper. You're just hammering it because it's got no recoil. It's got a super awesome trigger. It's so fun. You'll go through so much ammunition. I recommend probably getting about 6 magazines so you don't have to slow down the fun on your PPQ 22. Throughout this process, it was pretty reliable. I wrote a note to myself, one jam with crap ammo. It was probably that one ammunition was a Winchester load. The lead coated one, it's just awful. Mixed loads, no last shot hold open. Was it me writing this? I don't know. I see that a lot of pistols. It's probably my grip technique, but several failures to LSHO. Great group here, 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 here. So the sights, like I say, as long as that light pipe stays on, perfect. Trigger, perfect. Fun and fast to shoot. Really loved it. But then we go out in the desert, and here comes the curse of the desert, right? So I take Jardine out, and we're shooting it, and I'll be darned, he starts having all types of failures with it. I mean, it's failing to reset the trigger with CCI. It's jamming, and I was like, golly, what's going on? More failures to last shot hold open. I'm thinking it was the gun. And we're having a discussion. Maybe I'll put it on the Patreon channel. So thanks to my Patreon members keeping the channel going. Much appreciated. I'm posting exclusive content over there, nutnfancy Patreon, for the time being. It's in a trial period for the next year. We'll see how it works. But maybe I'll throw that video on Patreon. So all the raw narrated edits are over there, among other exclusive content. And we were really loving the gun. And then we go, what the heck? I mean, the long slide PPQ 22 is not doing great. So I go back, I regroup, and by the way, I was talking to Jardine when he's shooting. I was like, make sure that you're not riding your thumb against the slide. So it's not a high impulse gun. It is a longer slide. It has more mass rotating back and forth. If you're rubbing on that slide in any way, you can induce a jam. It's just a 22. It's not like a 9mm or 45 that's much more forgiving of that technique. A 22, especially a blowback, you can and will have problems. He assured me it wasn't, and he said, well, I'm not riding my thumb against it. But nevertheless, I came back and was like, well, these two data points, I mean, one really good, one really bad, they have to be kind of settled between themselves, which is more accurate. So I took it out on 2 more outings in the desert, and I'm happy to report with me shooting it, it was dang near 100%. Maybe a jam here and there, which is normal for 22s. But overall, with Federal and with CCI loads, it was excellent. So we're back in the green. So the 2 data points were reconciled, and I will say that it was probably Jardine running his hand on that slide. So he has a really high hold, and I see that with some guys that come out and shoot with us. Sometimes it'll even induce a jam. Rarely, but on a centerfire pistol. But I always hold high, but when you come up here, 2 things: make sure you don't run the slide, release down, and also don't rub. There you go. So I will, from my data point, which is just mine, from 5 outings that we took the gun on, probably about 500 rounds is all, but I would say the gun's reliable, which harkens back to the M&P 22, both the compact and this full size. Ultra reliable. That's one thing I raved about in this review. I loved it, loved it, loved it. Even with low power loads, this particular gun ran very well. Very well. So, reliable, you betcha. And that brings us, oh, and by the way, it does have a very good reputation on the interweb as being reliable. I clicked around after I got done shooting with it, and most guys are saying the Walther PPQ 22 series is really good, and I would concur. Which one would I want to have between just these two, the M&P 22 and the Walther PPQ, either the long slide or standard version? That is a good question. It is a really good question. I generally do not like, and this is just me, I generally do not like articulated triggers. I've said that. For some reason in MP22, the way it breaks, it's a different trigger, it's a different feel. I almost like it better than the standard non-M2O version of the M&P. So I love this trigger is what I'm saying. It's awesome. Firepower is the same. The sights are nearly identical, although the light pipes here, I like the durability of this sight better. This does have the dumb magazine, but that's easy. I'm sorry, the safety, that's easily removed. Magazine releases are good. I like the square trigger guard of the PPQ 22 better. I don't like the slanted one of the MP series as much. So I would probably go PPQ by a very slight margin for those reasons. And I do like the longer sight radius in this gun, the 5-inch version. So let's see what Gunnies is selling this for, if he's got a price on it. He does. So it's support Gunnies because they support the show. I kind of asked my audience to go buy from them. They do online sales, by the way. You can order from them. I don't get any money from them. They don't get any money from me. It's just a mutually beneficial thing that we're doing. And this gun will be for sale with a certificate of having been tested, if you care. $390 for this, so totally worth it. Would I buy it? Absolutely, I would. I think I made that clear. There are a lot of great 22 pistols out there. A lot of great ones. I just covered the Smith & Wesson Victory series. I'm a big fan of the classic pistols as well. The older 2245s, Mark IIs, the Browning Challengers and the like, and then some others that I've covered through the years. It's really hard to say. As long as you get out and shoot. If you're not going to shoot it and use it, save your money. Save your money. Yeah, highly recommended though. The Walther PPQ 22 5-inch is excellent. Nut and fancy.